I'm going to be making some cool, fun, funky birdhouses today using recycled wood. So come join me and have some fun. Artist up in North Carolina in the Outer Banks that makes these really cool, fun, funky birdhouses. And I'm really inspired by these things. Here's another one she did. And I bought one more from her over here. Yeah, really cool, using different tiles, marbles, all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm going to make some cool stuff. Not exactly the same, but just fun and funky, just like this. And I'll see what happens. I'm going to be using today is all recycled. It's all stuff that I found in the garbage. So that's definitely a bonus. And I just make these little boxes. I cut angles, and then here's kind of one in the process. So I'm just going to show you how I start one of these. Some of you that aren't handy, I'm going to show you a cool, quick trick that I use to replicate different cuts. So I'll take my original cut, which is like 9 inches, and then I'll just stack it on top of the other piece. This is just a long board, and I'll match it up evenly, and then I'll bring it up to my chop saw and just butt it up where it's a perfect fit. I'll take it off so I can make my cut. So now I have an identical cut piece of wood with that. Pretty cool. I told you this piece that I had, I put some screws in here just to get it started. Now to finish the box, I'm just going to put another couple more screws in here. There we go, we got our first box. So I'm going to make another one exactly like this, and then we'll just kind of stack them together, and then we'll cut 4 pieces around that. Like I said, I was going to make another one of these, but I figured I'm just going to use other technique that I like to do. I like to snap my fingers. Got myself a piece of plywood, another one that I found in the garbage, and I take my box and I try to avoid using a tape measure at all circumstances, because it's a lot quicker. So I line up my box with the plywood, and then I just mark it to about the size that I want. So we'll just make a square. And then I'm going to cut the square out with the saw. So look at that, we got a little square. So basically, what we're going to do, we're going to take our 2 pieces of wood, or 2 boxes, and then we're going to use a nailer, and then just nail 4 sides together and get a perfect square. Got my nailer out. I use 2-inch nails. Seems to be really good. And then I take my board that I cut, and then I place it on top. Always try and use the part that's bowed towards the wood, just so you can get a better, just so it doesn't bow out, you know. I love having a nailer. It's probably one of the best tools that I have. And if you're going to do projects like this, or even if you do a lot of stuff around the house, I would definitely suggest it. Saves you a ton of time. And it just makes doing projects like this fun. And I already nailed the bottom piece, so I'm going to put this up to the plywood now. And we're going to get the other two pieces cut so it matches. So rather than measuring, this is a quick way of doing it. Well, rainy here today in Florida, so just trying to do my best today with the weather. So I got my two pieces cut. I'm going to nail these. Always check for the bowl in the wood. Have it face down. I set it up against the plywood. I'm going to measure it. Not measure it, but I'll just draw around it with a pencil. We got our box there, and then we're going to cut it. Alright, we got our box. Always with the bowl down. Now we got a perfect box with a little opening up top. We don't need to cover that part. That'll help air it out, you know, get the humidity out of there or whatever. And now I think we'll build our little roof peak. The roof, I'm going to sand this down a little bit. What I do, I use a grinder. Porter cable is a great cheap grinder, and it has this little button, so you can release it whenever you need. Some of these grinders, they have like a button where you wedge and you have to like push it. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but these are awesome. They're only like 40 bucks. And then I'll take a metal grinder blade, a really thin one, to put on the bottom, and then on top of that I'll use metal grinder sandpaper, and that actually works great on wood. So you notice right here the wood isn't completely flush, so I could just sand it down with this sander. It takes off wood pretty aggressively. So while I'm at it, I'm just going to do all flush. pretty nice. Sanded, all the edges are sanded nicely. Now I think we're going to work on our peak next. So to make the peak, I'll actually take some of my leftover pieces of wood that I had cut from before, and I'll cut them straight this way, and then I'll just take another angle cut so that we could put a couple pieces of wood on there. You might have to sand it down and adjust it a little bit, but we'll kind of play with that. And when you're cutting such a small piece of wood, I remember learning this back in high school even, always take a long piece of wood and hold it down because you don't want to get your fingers too close to the blade. You gotta plug that in. And don't forget to plug in your tools as well. Okay, so I got the one angle cut. Now I'm going to just make another angle kind of right in the middle, just so we have like a perfect kind of triangle. So I'll cut this at 45 degrees. Just kind of line it up to about where it is. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as perfect as you can get. But that's kind of, oh, not as good as I wanted. Let's see, I'll try and do a little bit better job. Okay, now I really screwed it up. Try it again. Alright. Well, that's what we did. So I'm going to just do the same thing with this other piece, and then we'll attach it to the box. So we got our two pieces of wood cut, and we're going to attach it to the top of the box where there's the opening. So basically what I need is to get it centered. So I'm going to measure both sides to make sure we're centered. So I usually measure this side and this side. Just move it a little bit until we're right on. It's pretty close. Yeah, when we're around center, take my nailer. And I do it at an angle. Then we do the same thing on the other side. So I had a couple extra pieces of plywood. Actually, I got these from a friend. He put in a new kitchen. He has some extra cabinets, and he said, "Hey Pete, you want some wood?" I was like, "Absolutely." So I got these extra pieces, and I cut them whenever I need them for projects like this. Look at that. That looks pretty good. So basically, we'll just nail it to right here, get it about center. You can use your eye or you want a tape measure if you're a perfectionist. So I put two up here, and then I'll put a couple more over here to get it nice and fit. things up. I was moving a little bit too quickly on this project. I had to pull one of the boards off because inside here, right in the middle, right down here, we got to put a little board in there because we're going to be screwing a little plate on the bottom so that we could put it on a post. So we'll do that quickly. It's a wood cut, and I'm going to stick it down inside, right in the middle, in the bottom, so I can have my little plate to screw it to. I nailed that piece in there. I'm going to put this piece back. Now we're going to sand it all down. Alright, so next we're going to make our hole for the little birdie to go in and out of the house. So, what I use, they have these little bits that you could get at like Home Depot or whatever. They come in various sizes. It's a similar tool, similar kind of bit for drilling holes for door knobs. This one's a little bit smaller, but try and find our center point here, about where you want your hole, and then you just drill it. There we go, we got a little hole. Sanded down, everything looks pretty good. This is pretty much the base of our project. What I usually do with all my pieces, I'll use black spray paint, and I love this stuff from Home Depot. You can get it at Walmart too, or Lowe's. The Rust-Oleum 2X. It's paint and primer. You only need like one coat and it's done. So when I do my spray painting, I'll always do the upside down part first, so I can get underneath it, up and down, all around. The birdhouse is dry. I let it dry overnight, and we're here the next day. We're gonna do a little dry brush painting on it, and then we're gonna dress it up with some fun different decor. I'm gonna make a little bit of like a tiki style thatch roof using some different thatch that I have here. Some extra stuff. I had a hat too that I cut apart so I could use that as well. And I have all kinds of different paints here, and I'll show you how I dry brush on top of something that I spray paint black. Dry brushing on top of that gives it a roughed up look, which is really cool. So I usually like to do layers and layers of colors, so I got some of this acrylic paint, and I'll just kind of like run it to get it kind of dry on my board, and then we'll apply it on here, see how it doesn't fill in all the way, but you can see the black through it, gives it that roughed up look. And we're on our way with the first coat. Looks really neat. Best way to learn is just to watch. That's how I do it. And everybody's different in their learning patterns and how they absorb things. But there we go. More colors. But while we're waiting for that to dry, I'm going to cut this apart, and I think we'll add this on the top over here. I'll just staple that on. I do have an air stapler, but I'll use it with the other thatch. This stuff is really thin, so I'll just use a different style stapler. See, as we're layering on top, it's starting to get that tiki feel. So now it's going to keep adding stuff on there, really fill it up. Okay, so got some extra pieces hanging over here, so we'll cut that off and use it for the other side. So next I think we'll get some, well actually I think we could put another coat on. We'll add some more color to the house. Yellow, it's almost tan, but if we dry brush this on top of what we got, it'll just add a little more depth to what we got going on. Alright, I think we need to trim this thatch too. It's kind of hanging off a little too far. So we'll just, from the roof line, we'll go down a couple inches. Pretty cool. Up the birdhouse, I got one of these glass ball floats that they used to use a long time ago as lobster traps. So it's always a cool tiki style thing to add to a little tiki hut. So we'll just staple this on. That adds a cool little effect. This extra short pieces of bamboo from a fence project that I did. But they come in handy for things like this. And basically what I'm going to do is split them in half and sand them down around. But what I use is one of these metal blades on my grinder, and it's the thinnest one that they sell at like Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever kind of hardware store, and I'll show you how I do that. Now you got like a nice half piece that you can cut down to size, and then we'll add it as trim. I kind of use my finger. We'll measure it to about right there, and we'll just cut. Now I got a perfect little piece of trim. Looks really cool, tiki style. I got all my pieces cut for the corners. And I just replicated the size. got all the halves. So now I'm going to sand them down just so they're we got nice edges. And I go back to using my grinder wheel backed up with a metal blade to have some support. And that's pretty simple. I'll show you a technique on how to round it off. See how I sanded the back? Looks really nice. We'll get the edges too, but I'll show you how I do the tops. The tops, you can see, are kind of squared off and look a little rough, but look at this. Look at the difference. Looks really nice and finished off. I got all my pieces sanded down, the back sides, and as you can tell, or as you can see, I got the edges rounded off. So next I'm going to do is add the fun trim work and just use my nailer. That looking more and more tiki. Now I think what we're going to do is we're going to now do the tops and the bottoms, one piece each. So we'll just do the same thing. So as you progress with your project, depending on what style you're doing, you're always adding things and just seeing how it's coming together. So as you can see, I added the trim to that. Definitely is adding a tiki effect to the house. So thinking what we could do next is add some bamboo to the edge of the roof line on each side, and then add a giant piece of bamboo on top. Added trim pieces to the roof line on each side. And it's really starting to look like a cool tropical little tiki hut. So for the top, I'm actually just going to take a piece and we'll add it on top, and we'll kind of have that finished off. I'm just going to sand that. Beautiful. How cool is that? Alright, now we're going to dress it up with some different decor. That we could find either at thrift stores or other places. I think I'm going to glue some of these shells on the sides. They look kind of neat on each side. But I'm also, you know what? As I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I'm going to add some more color to it. I'm thinking purple, like a light purple. So let's see how that looks if we dry brush some purple on there. A little light purple, and I think this will brighten up our house, make it look a little more fun. Around the house. Bam! How cool is that? We're going to add some cute little things to finish off this piece. Got this cute little guitar. I'll glue this on the back. Got this. What I use a window and door silicone, and it's clear. This tends to work the best. I do a lot of art pieces, and this tends to hold up really well in the weather. So, and another bonus to this is you can clean it up really well, very easily. And just let it dry. We'll let it dry overnight, and that'll be over here too. So yeah, but as we do this, we're gonna have to let each piece dry. So those pieces dry, I'm gonna add this bottom plate to the birdhouse right over here, and actually buy 2 of these. You could get this in the plumbing department. I buy the 1/2-inch plates. And you could just buy a 1/2-inch piece of pipe that you could screw into both sides, and you could put the birdhouse on or off as you please. So it's a great way, especially if you're selling these. It's a great way to sell them. I'll just screw these on here. And there we go. So we added an extra piece of bamboo there. We glued that little pineapple for the front. We've got a little shell on each side. And the silicone holds it really nice. Now, for our final touch, we're gonna put this cute little guitar on the back. I think we'll put it right back here, just like so. This is the finished product. I got this set up at our shop in Gulfport, Florida. I'll show you what I did on the back here. One of these cute little guitars right there. How cute is that? Show you guys a couple other birdhouses that I did that we're gonna try out and see what happens. Did a little mosaic roof. And then the back, a little plaque, bless this garden. And then here's another kind of funky one that I did. I've got the heart on the side. Dangly heart, a little moon on the back, and then on the back here got the dove with the olive branch and peace. Fun stuff you could do at home with some scrap wood and some things that you could find at thrift stores and garage sales. You can make a cool, funky birdhouse right at home. I hope you guys enjoyed. God bless.